Welcome to Montana, also known as Big Sky Country, where nature's beauty takes center stage. From the steamy geysers of Yellowstone to the towering peaks of Glacier National Park, this state is a haven for adventurers and nature lovers alike. Picture crystal clear lakes, vast glaciers, and snow-capped mountains, each offering views that will leave you in awe. Montana also holds deep historical significance, with landmarks like the Little Bighorn Battlefield, where a legendary battle changed the course of American history. But there's more to Montana than meets the eye. Beneath its tranquil beauty lies a more complex reality. Rising poverty, a growing homelessness crisis, and, in some areas, increasing crime rates.
Of crime Sunday night that ended with a shooting at a children's birthday party.
Oh my God.
Keep going, go. Easy.
These struggles, often hidden beneath the state's pristine charm, serve as a reminder that even in paradise, challenges persist. In today's video, we'll be uncovering some of the darker sides of Montana. Yet behind Montana's breathtaking landscapes lies a bitter irony, a deepening housing crisis. Over the past few years, home prices in the state have skyrocketed by nearly 90%, jumping from an average of $266,473 in 2018 to $505,419 in 2023. Meanwhile, household incomes have only risen by about 28%, creating a widening gap between local residents' financial capacity and the soaring property prices. This disparity is particularly evident in places like Bozeman and Big Sky, where workers are now forced to live in vans or cars, as wealthy outsiders buy up properties in cash. These newcomers, often selling their homes in high-cost states like California or Colorado, bring large amounts of equity with them, inflating local property prices. As a result, Montana has become one of the least affordable states in the U.S., even surpassing California when it comes to housing affordability. Missoula, one of Montana's largest cities, is facing a particularly critical situation. In 2023, only 69 out of 442 homes listed for sale were priced within the range that's affordable to the average local income. For low-income residents, owning a home has become nearly impossible. To make matters worse, high mortgage interest rates have further reduced accessibility. While state policies are in place to accelerate housing development, the demand still far outpaces the available supply. Local leaders, such as Missoula's Mayor Andrea Davis, have called for structural changes, including incentives for developers and revisions to zoning laws to promote multi-unit housing. However, these proposed solutions have met resistance from communities who oppose higher density development, fearing it will change the character of their neighborhoods. The struggle for affordable housing in Montana highlights the growing tension between maintaining the state's idyllic charm and meeting the needs of its residents in a rapidly evolving economy.
We're also working for you in Missoula tonight, following up on a staggering number of homeless encampments popping up in the area.
The affordable housing crisis in Montana has sparked an unexpected surge in homelessness, with a staggering 89% increase since 2007. Cities like Missoula and Bozeman bear the stark evidence of this growing inequality, where tents and RVs have become an increasingly common sight on street corners, offering a visual contrast to the state's otherwise pristine landscapes. In Missoula, the Poverello Center, Montana's largest homeless shelter, is at capacity every single night. With limited resources, it is unable to accommodate all those in need, forcing many individuals to sleep on the streets. The average household income in Missoula stands at $66,840, which is far below what's needed to purchase a median-priced home that now costs around $520,000, even with a 6.625% mortgage rate. Rising rents have further compounded the situation, with a $100 increase in rent correlating with a 9% rise in homelessness. For many low-income families, owning a home has become an unattainable dream. Mental health challenges and substance abuse are also exacerbating the crisis. The closure of critical facilities like the Western Montana Mental Health Center, which lost 2/3 of its beds due to low Medicaid reimbursement rates, has left many without the support they need. People discharged from psychiatric hospitals are often sent to shelters ill-equipped to handle their complex needs. In 2023, the state allocated $300 million for behavioral health services, but slow implementation has delayed any meaningful relief for those in need. Some initiatives, like the expansion of the Samaritan House in Kalispell, offer hope, but both time and rising costs remain significant barriers to tackling the problem. Adding to these struggles, Montana, located over 1,000 miles from the US-Mexico border, has become a key transit route for drugs controlled by Mexican cartels. In December, 3 cartel members from the Sinaloa group, once led by Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, were arrested in Butte, revealing a long-hidden network of drug trafficking that has infiltrated the state. Governor Greg Gianforte has expressed concerns over the porous southern border, citing the drug trade as a major contributor to rising crime rates and family disruptions. While violent crime in Montana is still lower than in states like New Mexico or Alaska, it remains about 10% higher than the national average, with aggravated assault being the most common violent crime. Polson, a small community on the shores of Flathead Lake, has become one of the hot spots, with some of the highest property and violent crime rates in the state. Major cities like Billings and Great Falls also report significant crime levels, reflecting the contrast between Montana's iconic quietude and its increasingly complex social realities. The drug trade not only fuels crime, but also destroys local communities, spreading fear and uncertainty. In typically peaceful towns like Plains and Colstrip, the rise in drug-related issues is deeply troubling, adding a new layer of concern to once harmonious communities. Montana, often seen as a tranquil and picturesque state, is facing a growing battle against rising crime and instability. Beneath the beauty of its mountainous landscapes, this darker side serves as a stark reminder that even the most remote places are not immune to the grasp of crime and social unrest. Beyond its majestic landscapes, Montana faces a series of harsh challenges that cast a shadow over its idyllic image. The state's extreme climate, ranging from late spring frosts to early autumn snowfalls, limits the growing season to just a few months. Farmers are forced to choose crops that can endure this narrow window, while the state's reliance on imported produce increases as winter sets in. The unpredictable weather not only complicates agriculture, but also deepens the state's vulnerability to external factors. Montana's winters, long and biting, are an ordeal of their own. Heavy snow and freezing temperatures make accessibility difficult, especially in the more remote areas. Icy roads, roofs collapsing under the weight of snow, and disruptions to essential services add to the daily struggles of residents. For rural communities, isolation is acutely felt during the harsh winter months as they become more cut off from essential resources and support. Summers, though warm and pleasant, bring the looming threat of wildfires. With dense forests and highly flammable grasslands, the fire season in Montana can be deadly. Wildfires spread rapidly, threatening homes, lives, and the environment. As smoke fills the air, some communities are forced to evacuate, and air quality worsens. With Montana ranking as the second highest state for wildfire risk in the United States, more than half of the properties are located in high-risk zones, casting a shadow over life amidst its breathtaking natural beauty. The rise in global temperatures and the expanding human population, which is pushing residential development into wildfire-prone areas, has exacerbated the risk. A recent study by LendingTree shows that wildfires across the country have increased by 17% year over year. In Montana, housing development surged during the pandemic, bringing a wave of new residents into fire-sensitive regions. However, weak local regulations, often hindered by the state's Wild West attitude toward private property rights, have made wildfire mitigation efforts difficult to implement. The increasing threat of wildfires is also driving up property protection costs. Insurance companies have either raised premiums or withdrawn coverage from high-risk areas, leaving many residents without adequate protection. For those living in fire-prone zones, the financial burden of safeguarding their homes has become an added challenge. Another major issue facing Montana is its dependence on private vehicles. The state has limited public transportation infrastructure, making access to vehicles an absolute necessity for most residents. For those without cars, mobility becomes a major barrier, limiting access to jobs, healthcare, and other essential services. This lack of public transportation severely restricts economic opportunities, especially in the more remote, rural areas. Montana's vast expanses, which make it so alluring, also contribute to a profound sense of isolation. The long distances between communities limit access to services, deepen social divides, and place additional burdens on those living in the more secluded areas. The physical isolation of the land is compounded by social isolation, as residents, particularly in rural areas, struggle with the weight of self-sufficiency and distance from larger population centers.